Hello there, and welcome back to my channel and to part 2 of the floor stenciling saga. It's turning into a bit of a mini series instead of a special event, but as you can see over my shoulder, I finally got it finished, and it took a bit. It took a minute, and it took a lot out of me, but it's done, and I love it. And the rest of this video will show you how I got to this point. And let me just tell you, it was worth all of the pain and agony that it took to get here. But to be fully honest, the reason it's taken over a week for me to get these videos edited and together for you is the day after I finished this, a week ago Monday, I didn't get out of bed the whole day. I got out of the bed to feed the animals and to make a cup of tea and get a bowl of cereal because that's all the energy I had for eating that day. Otherwise, I went back to bed. So, Lilith says hi. And then last weekend I spent up in Chattanooga with my daughter, so I didn't do any editing or uploading then. So thanks for coming back, and I hope you enjoy the process and learn how not to and then how to stencil your old wood floors. Enjoy. So here we are on day 3 of the stenciling project, and I have been soaking my stencil overnight in this bathtub with hot soapy water. I actually drained it this morning and cleaned off a good chunk of it, and then I went and made breakfast and filled the tub again and re-soaked it. So I'm going to pull the plug here. And I have found, yes, soaking it did soften the paint on it, the gurgly drain. And I've also found that using this plastic paint scraper very carefully helps get it going. And in some spots I can really scrape a lot of it off and get it going in some bigger chunks if I'm real slow and careful. So I'm going to finish this, get it nice and clean, so that when I do it right for the final time, you heard it here first. I think you've heard that about 4 times now, but this time I'm going to do it right. It's going to be right. And if I'm going to get it all laid out right and do it right this time, I'm going to start with a clean stencil. Now I'm being very careful to pick up my bits that I peel off and toss them in a garbage can over here behind me so they doesn't go down the drain. I don't need any more plumbing issues in this house, so we're not going to let all these chunks of latex paint go down my drain. Now, when I have stenciled in the past, I have usually used some kind of craft acrylic that's thinner, and it doesn't build up quite this thick, but this is wall paint, so could I use it like this? Probably, but I was noticing yesterday by the end of the day, it was kind of not giving me the crisp lines I wanted. So I decided to take the time to do it this way. Gotta say, sitting at the floor at the edge of this tub doing this is not the most comfortable, but I've already come to the acceptance that at the end of the day today, and probably tomorrow, because I probably won't get this all done today, I'm going to be really sore regardless. So, too old for this shit. But am I really? No, I'm really not. So while I work on this, let me share some of the thoughts that have come to me as I've worked on this project. And one that's really come to me has been a lesson from your old drawing and art, all different art classes I've done over the years in the past. And everything from drawing and painting classes to photography classes, photography work, things like that, is that in art, you really have to pay attention to the negative space just as much as what it is you're drawing, and you will be much more successful. And I mean, that is what stenciling is. The stencil is the negative space. And the negative space of the stencil is the positive space, right? And I wasn't paying attention to the negative space when I was working on this and laying it out and figuring it out. I mean, it was, but if I had started from that point instead of trying to do it quickly and just kind of relying on, I don't know, this part, you know, to line things up, the edges and whatnot, I would have been more successful from the get-go. But it got me thinking about life, which is kind of what this kind of projects make me do to me anyway, right? That and the idea of toxic positivity that is so rampant in healing arts and yoga and kind of the new agey kind of movement, and even in witchcrafting, that, you know, love and light and good vibes and all that stuff. And really, you know, and my motto of don't postpone joy and finding joy in everyday stuff. But you gotta remember that sometimes, not sometimes actually, I'm finding it pretty much all the time, that yes, the joy is in the journey. Don't postpone joy. Find joy in everyday life. But remember that the real learning, the real lessons of life come from the negative spaces. The times when things don't go perfectly or as planned or as you wanted. But if you learn from those negative times, those negative spaces, the end result brings you joy. And isn't that really what we're all about? That's how we find joy. We don't find joy in the easy stuff. I mean, sometimes you do, obviously. But the true satisfaction of this whole project is going to be when I see this floor done, and I see it done right and as perfect as I can get it. And then I'll be able to stand back and experience joy in a job well done. I'll be able to look at the negative spaces and see that the pattern reveals itself in the negative. And that's the lesson here. So, also, if I can remember the mistakes that I made this time around on my spiral path, the next time I come around to this, I'll hopefully remember all the lessons that I learned, so I won't have to sit on the grody bathroom floor, because this is the unfinished yucky bathroom in here. and scrape 3-day-old paint off of a Mylar stencil, or plastic, or whatever this is. But that's the practical, that's not the metaphorical of this lesson. And also just be here now, right? Just look at the little section that I'm working on. Don't worry about all this over here. And patiently peel at the one I'm working on. After a lot of fussing and fighting, I think I have it all figured out, and I have even punched some registration holes in the corner, which may or may not help me do this quicker, because I still want to line it up every time with the laser level, but it gets me closer. And I know how much of an overlap I have to have. And I figured out the next row too. So I think this is gonna go today. I'm already exhausted. I think it's like 11 o'clock. I don't even know. I got up at 7, so I don't know what I've been doing like for the last 4 hours. But it's the stencil's clean, re-stickied. I've got a clean thing for my paint, so I don't have any old mushy paint in there. And I've got it aligned. And I have, well, I'm sure it doesn't show up on camera, but I have my red laser level going through the middle there. So, God, I hope this time works. That's all I have to say. Okay, y'all. I think I have it. You see what I was saying? They needed to be closer together, and they needed to be closer together both horizontally and vertically. And now I have these little stars in between each medallion, and I'm pretty much back to where I was yesterday when I decided to start all over again. Pretty much. I would probably have this entire half of the room done, had I done it right from the very beginning. And it also presents an interesting possibility, and I'm just going to call it a possibility and not a definite something I'm going to do. And let me show you what that is. So let me get this lined up here. So we have the little 6-pointed stars between each medallion. When I have it all done, I have the option, perhaps, of taking this. I gotta figure out how it lines up. I think that's the way it lines up. Let me put some tape here. Somewhere like that. Nope, like that. Yeah, maybe that's it. I don't know. If I do it, I'd have to figure it out. Exactly, and I would figure it out before I got started. This also, yeah, that I could put this little flower that's in the center of each medallion in the center. And I wouldn't do these spaces. I would only do the flower petals. And then it would be a solid floor. And it would be kind of a solid lace pattern. I don't know if I'm going to do that or not. I'm going to wait and see. And I might even get a big piece of cardboard that's like big enough to do, 4 pattern repeats like this, and then stencil the flower in there to see if I like it before I commit. But right now, it's early afternoon. I don't have my watch on. And I did just take a little break to eat some lunch and watch some TV and just relax and rest for a minute, because I'm wiped out. I'm afraid to even turn the camera. Oh yeah, so you can see how just wiped out looking I am right now. I don't have my camera straight. Here we go. I'm tired. Well, yeah, I'm tired, and it's just my body hurts from being on the floor, up and down off the floor, and bad posture and shit like that. So I think I'm going to try to do at least one more row. I really wanted to do, get half of the room done today, but I don't know if I'm going to, because it's close to 2 o'clock. If it's not 2 o'clock, yeah, I don't have my watch on, and I don't know what time it is. So really want to get this done this weekend, but I guess I still have all day tomorrow and all day Sunday to do it. I have a lot of time. I am planning not to travel next weekend to go visit my daughter, but it'll get done before I leave for that. I think it's got to get done. I have so many other things I want to get to, and I want to get this done before I get to those other projects. So, all right, I'm gonna get back to work. I don't think I'm gonna film. You saw the process yesterday. We'll see. Maybe I'll do a little, or maybe I'll wait and I'll just do whatever I do tomorrow. Keep watching, you'll find out. Saturday, the 20th of August. And I really thought I would get in here this morning and get cracking and it's noon right now. And I thought I'd be at least at the minimum at the halfway point of this floor project. But this is the first I've walked in here pretty much today, because I had a bunch of videos that needed to be edited and uploaded. So I spent most of my morning doing that. And I've got to be completely honest with y'all, I'm just wiped out. Getting old is for rookies. It's just getting to be. It's going to be a thing. My body just can't take all the on the floor, crawling around, working and stuff. So I took a lot of Advil and things before bed last night, slept pretty well, but I've just been moving pretty slow today. So it's noon. I'd really hoped I'd get Well, there was a time earlier in the week that I thought for sure this project would be done by now, or at least close to done by now. But I think if I get to the halfway, to the middle of the room, back to the middle of the room by the end of this go around, I'll feel like I've accomplished something. So let me show you. I don't know if at the end of the day yesterday I showed you how far I got. I think I might have just been so done that I was like, I'm out of here. So let me show you where I'm at, where I'm going, and God, I hope the next time I'm on here, I'm wrapping it up. But I've also come up with some other ideas to add on to this project, because of course I did, that may or may not happen, but I think they would really add, they would add the chef's kiss to the end of it if I did it. So let's see where we're at. Let me flip the camera around for you and I'll show you where I'm at right now. So here we are. I did not get to even the halfway, close to the halfway point yesterday, but I'm to the edge here. And again, I have to decide if I'm going to put half, fill in the spaces there with half mandalas or not. But you can now see the pattern developing. The negative space is making these little circles of stars. And again, when I get the two here, you know, so it's coming together, and I'm really glad that I went through all I went through and fixed it so that the pattern is the way it should be. I have more to say on that, but does it really matter? I don't know. So, so I have to finish these 2 rows. So there's 1, 2, 3, 6 more to finish that row, those 2 rows. And then I have to do one more, at least one more row here. That's going to be where I'm stopping for now, but I see that over there, there's room for one more row before I get to the wall. My original idea was 5 across, but that was when they were spaced out more. So it might end up being more than 5 rows across. But the issue comes in with this side of the room. There's going to be one more row here for sure. And the second row I could probably fit in, and it may or may not go underneath this piece of furniture. It would definitely go under the sewing cabinet. Not the end of the world, not a big deal. It actually would look good. It'd just be moving the sewing cabinet to get the mandalas under it, or the rosettes under it. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish my original plan of basically 5 across, 5 rows across. So that's one more on this side. Do some measuring from the wall to see how far around I am from the wall and take it from there, because I'm still strongly leaning toward painting a border around the whole thing, just a solid 1 or 2 stripes, maybe 3 stripes, because I have another, I'm still considering using this color from this cabinet as some accent here. And I think I showed you already how I can take the center flower of the mandala and put it in these negative spaces. So I'm thinking of doing that with the blue, and then the border stripe be the blue. That is my extra sauce that I'm thinking of putting on this. But the way I'm feeling right now, it's like, just get the dang thing done, and that might be good enough. I don't know. Or it might just be part of a future touch-up, or I don't know. So I'd like to say, give me your opinion in the comments, but who knows when this actually is going to come up, and if I'm going to have, if it's going to go up before I've made that decision. I guess keep watching this video and you'll see, or this might end up being a 2-parter, because like I said, this might be like a 12-hour video. Okay, I'm going to get back to cracking and get back to work and see where I get today. I don't think there's going to be a dance party tonight, but there will be a dance party, I promise. So, are you ready for a dance party? Well, just 1 minute, because I have one more medallion to put on, and then it's done. I'm so excited. I think Spotify's been listening to me though, because I am not kidding. I couldn't make this up if I tried. I'm not that creative. Well, yeah, you know what I mean. The last song that just played when I was finishing up the second to last medallion was Moni Moni. Yeah, so I had already had a little mini dance party in here with that. It's not quite as much fun if you don't have a bunch of people to yell along with. But you know, but then the next song that I just stopped was Bare Naked Ladies. And nobody has bought me a K-car or a green dress, so I turned it off to make this video. So let's do the last one for now. I'll show you why it might not be the last one, but we'll get there. Okay, here we go. Oops, I haven't centered this one yet. Yeah, that would figure that I would just start painting the last one without checking my alignment and it would be off. Pretty spot on. This one is just scooch. Double check. Here we go. The last little part. Whoop, 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 whoop. Oh, that's so satisfying to be done. All right. Not spill a thing of paint on it. Where do I put this? Okay, here's the full floor from beginning to end. Back down to the other end and show you from that direction. That's what it looks like when you walk in the room. I'm going to call it done for now. There are a few things that I discovered as I worked on this, and a few things, it's quite evident, did not go as originally planned. I like the end result. I have it centered on the window, which was my original plan. I had to make some allowances for the oddities of the room. One being that the windows are not centered in that end wall, which I didn't discover till way late, which would explain. And then the door, I'm standing in the center of the door here. The door is kind of centered on that left window. So that's a whole other thing. So centering the pattern on the room would have looked funny because it wouldn't have been centered with the windows. But now having it centered to the windows, it looks a little funny because there's a bigger gap on that side between the wall and the paint. The medallion's on there is this side. Plus this side, that all the furniture is deeper. Am I gonna let it bother me? I don't know, to be quite honest. There's room to just put another row of, I don't know what it is, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 or 11 medallions down this side. No, actually it would be 12. 2, 4, 6, 8, yeah, 12 down this side to balance it visually. And so I'm strongly considering that. I'm not going to do it tomorrow, and I'm definitely not doing it tonight. Plus, because this room is so long and narrow, I think that would help break up the room a little bit too. So I think that's going to happen sometime this week before I throw the stencil away, because trust me, I'm so ready to throw that stencil away. The other thing that I have been thinking about doing from the very beginning is painting a border around it, just a white, not a white, but the light green, a solid stripe around the whole thing to anchor it and make it not look like, oh, she just didn't want to go to the wall, that was intentional. So I have to decide on this last row over here, the 6th, I guess it would be the 6th row, before I decide on the border. So that's where we're at, and I'm pretty happy with it. I do think I'm going to need to put the other border on. Oh well, this is how I work, as you can already tell. I have best laid plans, and then I have to kind of come up with different plans. But I also discovered this, I have a lot of things that I'm not happy about when it comes to this particular stencil. And I'm not going to go into them here, but I think if I were to do this again, I would, well, there's a lot of things I would do differently. But I would be a little bit more picky about the stencil that I choose and how it's laid out and etc. So that's enough out of that. So thanks for joining me on this journey. It's been quite a journey. It's been quite a project. And like I said, it may or may not be done, but it's done for today, and it's done to my original plan. And so I'm pretty happy with it when it's all said and done. Check on you later. Check on me later. I might need rescuing, but I think I'm gonna go have a dance party with my cat and my dog. Although look at Caspian, such a good boy, because he knows I've been telling him not to come in here for like the last 6 days, and he's been sitting outside that door waiting for me, and he still knows he's not supposed to come in here. He's a good boy. All right, now while I'm talking about him, he'd probably come in. So there you have it.